Hi, this is an update to my slurry video. Now I have some more making here. Now this is the thickness of your slurry once you get done. If you have a large hole or something that is pretty big, you want it really thick. You want it to get inside your hole. See that? It's almost like a rubbery substance or like a tar. Now what if you have a hole that's not big, it's just a small hole? Now the best way to do this is to get some type of rubber plug that will fit up in there. Now acetone will not eat rubber, and if it does, it takes a very long time. So you get you a rubber plug that will fit up in your hole. Now if your hole's lopsided or crooked and it's not very big, you take a drill bit and you get a plug that will fit your drill bits. You want a rubber plug. You drill that hole out to where it's round. You get your rubber plug. Make sure you get the right size for your drill bit. You don't want to go too much larger than the hole you already have, if possible. If it's just a small hole, you mix up your acetone slurry. You know, you can buy fittings, little pieces of pipe like this for pretty cheap, pretty reasonable. This is 1.5 inches. As you can see, I've cut some more of this down. And what you do is, before you put your plug up in that hole, you put some acetone slurry around the plug, push it up in there, and it'll squirt out. That's fine, because you're going to cover this entire thing. So basically you're going to have your plug up in your hole with some slurry around here. Now if you can get the type of plug with a little lip here, right here, so where you push it up it will not work back down, that's even better. But if you can't, a plug like this will work. You just have to find one that'll fit your hole. You put your slurry right here, push your plug up into the hole. Now let's say this is our hole. Of course it's really big compared to this plug, but let's say this was our hole and it was cracked and chipped. So you just drill the hole out to be round to fit your plug, put your acetone slurry around here, punch it up in the hole, then you take and cover it, the whole outside, onto your tank. Now this is going to be really thick. You want it really thick on your first coat, and then you have to let it dry. After that, you make some more up, and then you let that dry, and then you cover it again at least once or twice more. Remember, this is going to be super thick. It's almost like a tar substance. If you want it thicker than this, if you have something that is a really big hole, say I had something like this big, for me to fix this, what I would do is I would take some kind of tape that would hold to the tank, put a huge amount of this right here. I would put the tape down, leave a little bit open, but I'd put a huge amount on the tape, and I'd push the tape up. So your tape, here's your hole, right? And you got to cover this hole. Right here, where your tape is, I would make the tape this long, and right there in the middle, I would put as much of this as I could. Well, you know, it's in this thickness. Then I would push it up. That would help seal the hole. Once it's dry, leave your tape. Once it's dry, you go over every inch of it and outside of the tape by at least 1 inch, 1.5 inches. That way this is full here. It may bulge down a little bit. If it does, that's fine. But if you can, push it up flat when you put your tape up. Another way you can do this is put a piece of tape right where your hole is. Get some type of syringe. Now this is going to run any type of syringe. So if you can get some plastic syringes, great. You know, they're one use only. Put a small hole in the center of your tape. Put your syringe up in there and squirt all your slurry up in there. Now what you're going to do on a syringe is you're going to cut the syringe so you can let the acetone slurry come out. That will fill the hole. It may take several syringes full, but it will get up there and it will come down and fill the hole. The tape will hold it in so it will start to seal. You know, and once you pull your syringe out, there's going to be a hole there. Just slap another piece of tape over that hole, and that slurry will settle and be flat with the tape. Then again, after that's done and it dries, you take your new acetone, which I'm making here. This can be thinner. You don't have to have this thick. It can be a little bit thinner. And then you go over the whole thing. That will seal. I will show you. I'm looking for Midnight. I'm sorry. I think he's in here somewhere. And I don't want to lie. There he is. I knew it. Now, on my camper, there was a small hole somebody tried to repair on the tank. I do not like the way they did this. They tried to use butyl tape and wrapped it around with tape. That's not the correct way to do this. So I'm going to show you what I did. And I used a really thick slurry. And you can see there's still some stuff on my hands. This stuff is next to impossible to get off. I mean, I scrubbed with a dish scrub sponge with the backing, and it did not all want to come off. I even tried Everclear. Yeah, this stuff is solid. I got as much off as I could. But I'm going to show you my camper and show you what I did. Now, it's where a pipe is connecting. Now, I went around the pipe. As you can see right there. Now, once my acetone is done, I will go over this again and make sure there is nothing that's not sealed. But I brought it all the way to the end of the pipe, around it, over on the tank. Now, I just did this a few minutes ago, and it's already starting to dry up. And I put it on very, very thick. And once this dries and my new acetone is done, I will come coat this again. Now right here is, they had some butyl tape. I don't know why the hell they put butyl tape on here, but apparently they tried to seal a hole here, and they didn't do a very good job of it. But look at that. And you can see it is still wet, some of it, but it's almost like a rubbery substance. Yeah, get on me. Ah, great, now that's on there. But you can see, and like I said, once this dries, I can go over it with another thick coat, or I could go over it with a thin coat. I'm going to put another thick coat on here because one right here is where the pipe goes into the tank. I want to make sure it is solid. There was a small leak here. Like I said, they tried to fix it with butyl tape, and that was ridiculous. And some silicone in there. That was stupid. I scraped out as much as I could, but unfortunately I didn't get all the silicone and butyl tape out, so I have to put it on very, very thick to make sure it covers and seals. And all I did was put this on with a paintbrush. You can see the paintbrush. Once this dries, I will go over it again with another thick coat. But I want to make sure it dries. So I'm going to leave this for probably 24 hours, maybe in 48 hours, before I put another coat on it. You can see, I don't know if you can see that, the stove, wood stove down there. But that is the best way to make your slurry, is in my last video. Now I did put zip ties, little cut down zip ties in it. Now they did dissolve to a point, but there's still little bitty pieces in there, and that will give it some extra strength. If you don't have zip ties, you can absolutely use sand, a small amount of sand. You want something for this to stick to, especially if you're filling a large hole in, because this is just, see, almost like rubber. And you will definitely need more than one paintbrush. This paintbrush is pretty gone. And move this stuff out of the way. And you put it on very, very thick. Let it dry. Make sure you give it plenty of time to dry. And you can see it's not sticking too much on the paintbrush. You know, the paintbrush is like, has dried stuff in it. It's not really, the paintbrush is not sticking to it. It's not sticking to the foil very well. There we go. But I also have some acetone that got spilled on this foil, so. Let's try this on a piece of wood. I used like 99.9% of this stuff. As you can see, it's kind of still rubbery, but this is really dry. So the paintbrush isn't picking any of it up. It's just barely coming off the end. Now that's trash. I got some on my thumb there. Yeah, I can already feel this stuff starting to dry up. You see how thick that is? I hope you can see that. See, that's going on very, very thick. That's what you want. But like I said, if you have just a small hole, like, you know, something that's really small, the best way to do that is get a rubber plug, drill out your hole, the size of your rubber plug, put some acetone right here around the sides, all the way around, and here. And like I said, when you push that rubber plug up in there, the acetone slurry is going to come over the side and go down. It's not a big deal. Then you go over the entire bottom for a good 6 inches or so around the plug and underneath the plug, and that will seal your tank. If you're on a corner, those are the worst places to have a break. The plug thing may or may not work for you on a corner. You know, you're more than welcome to try it. If not, you can try this. You can try various versions that you can find online. See, this hasn't been in there that long. It's already dissolving. But I will let this dissolve at least 24 hours. Then I will stir it up. And I will put some zip tie, you know, small pieces of zip tie in here. Let it sit a little while. And then I will put it on. Alright, this is an update. I wanted you to see how thick this stuff actually is. I mean, basically, It's almost like a rubber substance. But once this dries, it's not going to be this way. It's going to be hard. I don't know if you can. It's hard once it dries. All right, I'm fixing to go. This is an update. Um, this stuff is going to take a pretty good while to dry. You can see some of this is, I think you can see some of this is already drying. All right, this is an update. I am fixing to go. Here's what I was talking about, some type of syringe. This is what I use for my gasoline. But I have another one of these that you can cut off if you need to squirt it up in there. Use something like this. This is a 3mm syringe. Once you use this, it is going to be shot. I mean, it'll melt this plastic sure as anything. But make sure if you use one, you either open the hole much bigger, or you just cut it off. And then you can put your tape here, put a hole in the middle and squeeze this up in there and just squirt it up in there, and that will come down right there. And when you squirt it up, don't squirt it hard, squirt it very easy, so it just starts to goop around where your hole is. Alright, that's it. I'm fixing to go. Anyway, I know I just uploaded that video. If you want to know how to make this, watch the last video. This is just acetone. This one right here is just acetone and some cpvc pipe. On the really thick stuff, I cut a bunch of these zip ties down into very small pieces and mixed it in there. It makes it much stronger. If you don't have any of that, like I said, you can put a little bit, not much, but a little bit of sand in there, because that'll give this something to bond to in the hole. All right, that's it. I'm fixing to go. Everyone have a good day. Bye.